Am I the asshole for telling my husband, either he comes home or I'm done? I have been with my husband Jake for 9 years. I just gave birth to our son 5 months ago after years of infertility. We underwent 3 rounds of IVF before we had a pregnancy that stuck after 4 miscarriages. This was a significant turning point in our marriage, bringing us closer despite all the grief. For the first 3.5 months of our son's life, Jake was the most attentive and helpful man I had ever met. Life was happy. Then, his mom, Linda, suddenly came back into his life when our son was 3.5 months old. She moved back to our state after living in Canada for 17 years, having left Jake and his siblings behind when he was 13. Her presence has made me incredibly uncomfortable on multiple occasions. She has visited 5 or 6 times since our son's birth, but has never held the baby. Jake always says, "Look, it's Grammy," and Linda raises her eyebrows and says hi before looking away. Most of the time, she asks Jake to go outside with her, away from me and the baby. She frequently asks Jake to visit her place, but neither the baby nor I are ever invited. Jake insists she's just trying to catch up and make up for lost time, but I'm honestly done with it. Today was Jake's only day off this week. Our baby has a spiked fever and is super cranky. I've had to call out of work for the past 3 days due to this, and I work from home. The house is a mess. I haven't showered in 4 days, and I can't put the baby down without him screaming. I need help. Around 10 a.m., Linda called and said she needed Jake because she had surgery and needed a ride to and from the hospital. So, he left with no prior notice. An hour ago, he called and told me that Linda's boyfriend was also there. I asked why he was still there when she clearly had a ride and support. He said she just asked him to be there, and he wanted to support her. He called again 10 minutes ago, saying she was in recovery, and asked him not to leave. I told him I really needed his help, and that ever since his mother reappeared, he's been MIA, making me feel like I'm doing everything alone. He apologized for how I felt, and said he wanted to be home with us, but his mother needed him. Something inside me broke when he said that because I'm telling him I need him. But his mom's needs are more important. So, I told him if he didn't come home, I was done, and would file for divorce. He asked if I was serious, and I hung up. I hardly see this man anymore, because of this woman, and I don't want to live like this. Even though it's only been a month and a half since this started, the hospital is only 15 minutes away, so if he's not back in 30 minutes, I'm packing my stuff. ETA. I own a property that I rent out on Airbnb. That's where I'll be going. I don't have a support system as I grew up in foster care. My biological mother died during childbirth, and my dad didn't want me. I was never adopted. My best friend moved 2 years ago. It's just me, and used to be Jake. ETA. I'm on my way to the Airbnb now. The last call I received from Jake was him saying his mother would be discharged within the hour, and he would come home after dropping her off. Her boyfriend, who lives with her, is still at the hospital and could drive her, but Linda wants her precious son instead. So, I'm leaving. Thank you to everyone who took the time to comment. I will update as the night progresses. Update 1. Jake needs therapy because he's trying to be the 13-year-old boy that his mom loves enough to stay, which won't happen. She will ditch him again. He just wants his mom's love and approval, but forgets that he's not 13 anymore. He has a family now that he's responsible for. This behavior is common with adults who were abandoned as kids by one parent or another, and the parent suddenly shows back up. It's incredibly complex. The child desperately wants to gain the parental approval they were denied as children. This isn't just a matter of recognizing they need to grow up. They need therapy to help them understand what they're doing and why, so they can move forward. Jake's actions are heartbreaking. Adults will do anything when a neglectful parent waltzes back into their lives, making demands and seemingly offering the opportunity to earn the love they were denied as children. Many people who grew up with neglectful or absentee parents are emotionally stunted. It's particularly sad because Jake was the most attentive partner imaginable before this woman re-entered his life. Now, he's abandoning his own child to please a woman who didn't even acknowledge his newborn. Update 2. The last call I received from Jake was him saying his mother would be discharged within the hour and he would come home after dropping her off. Her boyfriend, who lives with her, is still at the hospital and could drive her, but Linda wants her precious son instead. So, I'm leaving. Thank you to everyone who took the time to comment. I will update as the night progresses. Update 3. Jake and I had a long talk when he finally came home. I told him how abandoned and unsupported I felt. He broke down and admitted he was trying to make up for lost time with his mother, hoping to gain her approval. I suggested therapy, and he reluctantly agreed. We're going to start couples therapy as well as individual therapy for him. For now, I'm staying at the Airbnb. We both need space to process everything. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I'm hopeful that therapy will help Jake understand the impact of his actions and that we can rebuild our relationship and family. Thanks for listening. Now let's check out some posted comments. Your husband need therapy because he is now trying to be a 13-year-old boy that mommy loves enough to stay, which won't happen. She will ditch him. I agree. He just wants his mom's love and approval, but forgets that he is not 13 anymore. He has family now, for which he is responsible. This is actually very common with adults who were abandoned as kids by one parent or another, and the parent suddenly shows back up. It's incredibly complex. The child wants so badly to gain the parental approval so they aren't abandoned again. Mix that with possibly wanting to be the good child, since there is often a deep-seated feeling that somehow they caused the parent to leave them. This isn't just a matter of recognizing they need to grow up. They need therapy to help them recognize what they're doing and why, so they can move forward. And Opie's probably got abandonment issues if she went through foster care, that him leaving her when she needs him is triggering. Yeah, but when you're that desperate for your own mom's love, it's hard to see reality for what it is. I hope, for his sake and Opie's, he gives therapy a try. It's heartbreaking what adults will do when a neglectful parent waltzes back into their lives, making demands and, seemingly, offering them the opportunity to earn the love they were denied as children. Many, not all, but many, people who grew up with neglectful/absentee parents are emotionally stunted. It's particularly sad in this case because Opie said her husband was the most attentive partner imaginable before this monster re-entered his life. Right? It's tragic, absolutely tragic, that this woman abandoned her kids. And I understand he deeply, deeply wants his mother's love and thinks he can get it now. But she wants the degree of devotion that now should rightly belong to his wife and kid. He has to choose. And that really, really sucks for him that his mom is making him make such a horrible decision. And in giving in to her, he will be doing similar things to his own kid as he rushes to please a woman that didn't even acknowledge his newborn child. Generational trauma at its finest. This carrot spot on, poor guy is fighting for his mother's abandoned love, attention, and approval. Your husband needs a lifetime of therapy. I know, as my mother, who abandoned me at the hospital after giving birth, popped back into my life when I was age 32 and thought I would change my name to something different that she liked. Needless to say, I tried desperately for her approval and love and never got anything in return. I am sorry for your situation. Make a lifetime of loving memories with your new baby. He is your new and forever family. Oh geez. Change your name? I'm awfully sorry, almost anyone can reproduce, but that doesn't make them a mom. Victory hand. This is it. Your NTA. OP. He's being a shit husband and a shit father right now. Obviously his actions are coming from a place of trauma, and I don't think he even realizes it. I have a lot of sympathy for him, but he needs to get his heat on straight and step up. It's only been a month and a half of this issue being a problem, so I think Actually, going through with the divorce is probably premature. But hopefully, the threat of it helps him snap out of it and realize what he's been doing and what the stakes are. He needs to apologize to you, take responsibility as a dad, set some boundaries with his mom, and ideally, you both need couple therapy, as well as him having his own therapy to process his maternal abandonment issues. Whether or not there's a chance of this all working out depends on how self-aware he is, / how much he's able to acknowledge and admit what he's doing wrong and why he's doing it. I would expect it might take a few days of talking and/or arguing before it finally gets through to him. This shit runs deep. Tell him he has completed the cycle and become the parent who abandons his own child. That was my feeling. He has become his own mother, abandoning his child for something else. Unfortunately, it's his useless mother. I'd be out. Good luck, four-leaf clover. Mad props to OP. She is trying to break this miserable cycle by at least forcing her husband to come to terms with how shitty he's being. So he is abandoning his kids because he got abandoned his kid, and now that person is back. NTA for trying to stop him abandoning your kid in you. Exactly. And a mother who grew up in foster system and is on her most vulnerable state. Yup. This must be so triggering for her. Both she and her son abandoned. They need individual and family therapy. He's so awful, BC. Their son is a baby, and she's been dealing with her job plus sick baby on her own. NTA. At all. You shouldn't even have to ask, let alone beg. Good on you for drawing the line. The second you have to beg, it's over. I'd be out too. You went through IVF for him to act like this? Fuck that. Exactly. I'm not shocked he doesn't see the problem. Dude has issues and seriously needs therapy. Mommy has a support system while Op doesn't. Yet he picks the egg donor who abandoned him happily over his wife and infant. NTAOP, I'm glad you put your foot down. He can ultimately shove it and go back to Mom of the Year. Up the team. NTA. He ditched his family for someone who is going to run off. She's probably going to start asking him for money to help his mom in old age. She probably already has, hence the wanting to see him alone. He's likely given her money and hidden it from Op. That's my thought. NTA. He needs to get his shit together. It is easier to be a single mother than to deal with that crap. It's what I am doing now. So much easier. I, a single mother, ditched my ex when I saw that our son meant nothing to him. I was a single, employed mom with zero child support. My son moved out when he was 19, went to college to become an EKG technician, has advanced his career a few times, and is currently an EP at a hospital where he and his family live. He has been married since 2005 to a beautiful and every way woman, and I got my grandson in 2011. I am a very happy mom and grandma. It wasn't always easy, but raising him by myself was so much fun, and he and I are still very close. He and his wife and son took me to Maui the first week of April. Smiling face with smiling eyes, smiling face with smiling eyes, smiling face with smiling eyes, grinning face, grinning face, grinning face. Edited for typos. NTA. Why is she back? Is she getting older and needs someone to take care of her? Does she need a kidney? No one pops back into another person's life like this, right? There must be a reason. Your spouse is trying to play perfect son with the mother who abandoned him, and in the process, is abandoning his own child. The irony. What do his siblings say? Are they letting her back in? Kidney, money, place to live, or just stroking her own ego? She wants something, probably the ego thing. She heard he had a baby and realized she wasn't involved as the grandmother. She doesn't want to be involved as a grandmother, but if she can't be involved with her grandson, then neither can her kid. Moments really get off on stealing people away from their family. I'm sorry, Op. Good for you for putting your foot down. I'm sorry he's choosing his mother. I had a talk with my husband, once. His mother claimed her husband, and her kids are her circle, and no one can penetrate it because it's a bond, blah blah. One day I got fed up and told my husband, "You are the man of this house. We are your circle." I am your wife. These are your children, and you're supposed to lead us and protect us. But you're too busy in your family circle. It's okay though, because my kids have a strong mom, and they are my circle, and I'll protect them since you're too busy under mommy's wing. We don't need you, but they will always have me, and they'll never have to second guess that. I promise. How whole outlook changed. He's had my back ever since. He's regressing a little, but it's held strong for a good 5 to 6 years. Sometimes they just need that wake-up call. Good luck, Op. He's definitely not being fair to you. He already made the decision you will come after. It's super messed up. I'm also very sorry you are going through this, Opie, and I know it's so hard to do, especially with a young baby. I'm so sorry you don't have any support system. And also at significant, I'll 5869. I'm right there with you. I've had to tell my husband that if he can't put his family first, then I'm happy to let him be with his mom. We've been through this twice in about the same time frame as you. He was great for 5 years, but has started to regress hard. We just had another conversation about this, and I straight up told him this would be the last one, that I wasn't going to allow our kids to think it's fine for their spouse to put their family second to everyone else. All this is to say, Opie, if you decide to take him back or go through therapy, he's going to need to either cut off his mom or will need to continue therapy for the long haul. And I wanted you to know, this is something you'll be dealing with for the rest of your life with him. He's shown you who he is now. Believe him in. Antir, a man who ditches his wife and sick baby regardless of the reason, least of all a deadbeat mother, is no man at all. If you have a place to stay, that's a good start. Are your finances separate? If not, do so now. Does he have keys to the place? If so, change the locks. Get your ducks in a row and EFF him. Finances are separate, yes. We have a prenuptial agreement. She abandoned him when he was a kid. He should be mad at her and keep her at arm's length instead of neglecting his wife and newborn for her. She really messed him up twice over, once as a teenager, now as a fresh father. I really hope you manage to pull his head out of her arse and make clear to him how manipulative she is. My daughter was born at 28 weeks and was 1 pound 3 at birth. When she finally came home, we slept in shifts so she could be fed every 3 hours. That's what a real father does. Our daughter was born on her due date, and on the days he worked early in the morning, I would get up with her, but the other 3 days, he would let me sleep and get up with her. You are absolutely right. That's what a real dad does. OP, your husband is an AH, and you're an exhausted woman who's pretty much been parenting on your own. Don't wash, don't comb your hair, don't wipe up any baby vomit, or pick up any clutter, or try to clean the house. Don't do anything to cover up what you've been dealing with alone. Get the suitcase out. Start making a list of what you would need in your Airbnb to live. I don't think your husband is a sorry ass beyond redemption, but he surely has not been putting his priority and his common sense where it belongs, with his wife and child. If he's not back in your time frame, start packing. OP, I know you are exhausted. You are making a clear, rational decision to go to the Airbnb. You also need to make sure you are looking at your overall finances. I can understand that this woman has tapped into those 13-year-old boy feelings. You probably understand more because of your dad. The secrecy between the two of them is very troubling. This woman is after something. I don't think it was a ride to the hospital. It certainly isn't getting to know her son, or she would be interested in his life now. That doesn't require isolating him. Since she had this sudden pop-up surgery, I wouldn't be surprised if she now has financial troubles.